Hey yo, what's going on YouTube? It's XIII. Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm gonna do my first motovlog ever, and the topic is actually gonna be what you saw in the thumbnail. It actually happened, guys. I guess the beginner rider's nightmare per se. I dropped my bike for the first time, and it's kind of a different story, hence why the motovlog today. So to tell you guys a little bit about it, so it was a regular day. I was on my way to work and I was on the freeway, you know, doing my usual commute, and everything was going fine, nothing wrong with the bike. What ended up happening was, when I was getting off of my exit, while I'm getting off on that exit, it's kind of a long round left turn, and what was starting to happen was that it was really hard to, you know, counter steer. So I was pushing left, and it took a lot more energy than what it usually does. And my first instinct was, or my first thought was, whoa, that could have been dangerous. So I was pushing left like I usually do to counter steer, and it was just really harder than usual to turn left. And my first instinct was actually, did I have my coffee this morning? Like, am I just really tired? That's why it's taking a lot more energy to push left? What's going on? So that was my first thought, right? And that was okay. I guess that was in hindsight, that was a pretty poor thought, because the change was pretty drastic and it happened very suddenly. And where was I? Yeah, the change was very drastic, and I got off the freeway. I took my exit that I usually do, and then after that, as I started to slow down, then it got a little hairy. So the bike, I could feel the bike wobbling. And at that point, I had no idea, you know, what was going on. And I was getting to my first stoplight, right? That's where it just got really bad. It got really wobbly. Even if I took like a single hand off the, you know, the handlebar, it would start to lean in that direction real quick. Even at speed, you know, it was really hard to balance the bike. So at that point, you know, I knew I kind of just kept a light grip, just because of the harder you hold your handlebars, the more vibrations you go through your hands, and it really becomes hard to balance the bike. And so I basically focused on, you know, keeping a light grip, keeping my hands on the handlebars, but, you know, keeping a light grip nonetheless, which is what I usually do anyways. But you know, when you're losing balance like that, things can get a little hairy and you kind of forget how you usually do things. So I guess that's why practice makes perfect. Anyways, going off on a tangent here. So I keep a light grip, I keep on riding. At this point, I know something's wrong. I turned on my hazards and I was just cruising slowly, and I get to another turn, and, you know, it's still sketch. At slow speeds, it was incredibly hard to turn the bike, to counter steer, or even to, you know, at slow speed you actually have to physically turn the handlebars and whatnot. And that was a huge challenge. So what ended up happening was, I managed to make it to work, as I'm getting closer and closer to the entrance, you know, for where I work, I saw a bicyclist that was, you know, also riding. He was stopped on the opposite side of me at the stoplight that goes into my work, and I could see him just staring at the front of my bike. And at that point, you know, I kind of had an idea what it might be. I was thinking I probably had a flat front tire, and based on that bicyclist reaction, you know, that kind of just confirmed for me sorry, just had to do that real quick. So that basically confirmed for me that it is probably a flat front tire. And as a beginner rider, you know, I've never experienced any issues with my bike whatsoever before, and going straight to a flat front, you know, it can be a little scary, and it's not something I knew how to really feel, I guess. Like, I didn't know what it felt like, so I had no idea initially that this is what it could be. It really took some time for me to really understand, like, oh crap, I really do have a flat front. Anyways, so in order to get into my work's front entrance, you have to stop. Everyone has to show their badge, and that's when it happened. I, you know, stopped the bike. I took my hands off the handlebars to get my badge out, and taking both hands off the handlebars at the same time, the bike just completely lost balance. And same thing, because I haven't felt it before, it was so unexpected to me that the bike just fell over, and I fell over with it. So I fell over to my left side right here, and that's how I dropped my bike for the very first time. So what happened was, I guess damage wise, it wasn't too bad. I basically, my clutch handle over here broke off at the end. I had a little nick over here on this side on the bar end, but the biggest thing was my shifter. My shift pedal, that was actually bent a little bit inward, so I could shift up, but I couldn't shift down. So that was pretty hairy, and I thought that would be a pretty huge fix, but luckily, you know, it turned out to be all right, actually. But regardless, I wasn't able to, you know, obviously I had a flat front, I wasn't able to drive it, so I had to get it towed. So overall, cost wise, you know, it was less than $200 to get a brand new tire, fix the clutch handle, and luckily, because of the shifter pedal, because it's metal, the shop was able to just basically bend it back, so I didn't have to pay anything for that. So basically the main costs were just the handle, the clutch handle, and the tire. And what ended up happening was that there was a nail in the tire, which makes a lot of sense just because on the freeway it was a new construction area. I didn't ride anywhere like outside of, you know, the lanes, obviously, but you know, you never know with these things, and I was just very unlucky, and I had a nail get caught in the tire, and that's why, you know, that flat happened so suddenly. And it's nothing you can really predict or do anything about, right? You just have to be able to handle that kind of situation when it comes. And so that's what happened, guys. Cost wise, it wasn't too bad, luckily, but it is what it is. Now, some things I kind of learned from, you know, this whole thing is Anyways, where was I? Sorry, I couldn't help myself. So some things that I learned from this whole spiel that happened was, first off, when I called to get a tow, I have AAA, you know, because I've been driving for so many years. And when I called AAA, they were happy to find me a tow truck. But what I learned was that auto AAA, like car AAA, and motorcycle AAA are two separate things. And so my tow was not covered by AAA, because in order for motorcycle AAA to be added on under my name, that would take about 48 hours, and that wouldn't work because then my bike would be stuck here. I had no way to tow my bike anywhere by myself, or even like put it on a ramp and load it onto a truck or anything like that. So I had no means to get the bike to the shop, and so towing was the only way. And yeah, so that was a pricey lesson to be learned. So if any of you, before you guys get into a situation like this, make sure you have a way to, I guess, tow your bike, or at least have, you know, motorcycle AAA membership. Didn't even know that was a thing, but hey, we all gotta learn somehow, right? Second, now, you know, I never thought that I would be the one to, you know, drop my bike. And I guess no beginner rider, or, you know, any rider really expects these kinds of things to happen. So now I can finally understand, you know, why everyone really recommends crash protection being like the first mod that you do on your bike, getting those frame sliders, all that jazz, just to help really protect your bike. And I think if I had all that crash protection, I could have avoided some of the costs and issues that I had, like the clutch pedal breaking off, maybe some of the mild scratches. And I think the biggest thing was just the gear shifter not being able to, you know, be effective or usable at all. Anyways, guys, so moral of the story is, your first fall on a motorcycle, your first time dropping the bike, it can really happen to anybody, right? I never expected it to happen to me, and I'm sure everybody probably feels that way or thinks that way at some point in time. But you never know when these things happen. The way it happened to me was really out of my control, and it wasn't something that I could predict. So it can happen at any time, and the most important thing is that you're prepared for these kinds of situations. You know, you might not necessarily get injured, but my heart was hurt, right? I dropped my bike for the first time. I was so sad, but it is what it is. At the end of the day, you know, your health, my health is the most important thing, or the rider's health is the most important thing. And as long as you're okay, you're not injured, no big deal. Get back up, start riding again. It is what it is. Anyways, guys, that's it for the vlog today. Drop a like if you liked it, thumbs down if you disliked it, comment down below any questions you have, or even if, you know, tell me about the time that you dropped your bike for the first time. You know, what happened, how did you feel? Because it's not a great feeling, to be honest. But yeah, hit the subscribe button for more videos like this, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.